to call to order a special meeting of the Algonac Board of Education for Monday, May 8th, 2017, at 6 p.m. Can we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence? Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And a roll call, please.
Charles Foster.
Here.
Andrew DeLay.
Here.
Joel Clark.
Here.
Heather O'Neill. Here. Roberts. Heidi Campbell. Here. Bruce Whitmore.
Here.
Aaron Stillman.
Thank you. Tonight's meeting is going to be a discussion about our recent bond issue, sinking fund issue election, the technology and facility needs of the school district. Dr. Stricker is going to lead us through a discussion about all of these things, so hang on tight. At the conclusion of his presentation to the board and to the public here and to the folks at home from TV, there will be some discussion amongst the board members. We'll be probably asking Dr. Stricker some questions or having comments and discussion amongst ourselves for a little bit. There will be a period of time where we will invite members of the audience who wish to comment about this topic, and this topic only, during this open discussion. In order to speak during that period of time, we're going to request that you please stand, go to the podium where Dr. Stricker is now, say what it is you have to say. Try to keep it brief. There's a lot of people here. It could go a long time. We'd appreciate some cooperation with that. And if we can answer, if you have a question and we haven't answered, we will answer your question. If you ask a question and there's not a definitive answer, we will explain that will be explained to you, and when the information will be found out and be published out and gotten to as many people as we possibly can. Then anybody that wants to speak at this meeting about any other topic pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, Public Act 25, you will have to please fill out the blue form over by the agendas and the coffee. And anyone during our discussion portion about technology and facilities, anybody that wants to stand up and talk can do so, but we need you to state your name because we need names for the minutes of the meeting, because that's in our policies and it's the way things are supposed to be. So we appreciate everybody's cooperation with that. This room is not as acoustically friendly as our normal boardroom, so hearing people talk is maybe a little bit difficult sometimes, other than somebody with voices like myself. So what we would ask that you please keep chatter in the audience to a minimum or a very low roar. And we appreciate everybody's cooperation, and thank you for coming out tonight, Dr. Stricker.
Well, it's good to see everyone this evening. That this is part of the democratic process with school boards and so on. And, I always encourage everyone to attend our monthly meetings. I would like to see this type of audience at every monthly meeting, because this is just one aspect of actually, it's just maybe 1/5 of the piece of what we do in the schools in regard with our students in the school community. So it's good to see everyone this evening, and I would encourage you to come back to our monthly meetings. It'd be great to see you. So, thank you. All right, very good. I'd like to start off, and we have as many handouts. I think I made 50 minus for the board up here, so there may be 40. So I can get you copies of whatever you would like. If there's not enough handouts, it should be pretty close. These are the election results from this year, from November and May. And so you can see the November bond, the November sinking fund, and then the May sinking fund. Obviously, you can see the percentages below. With the bond, it was 45%, 0.9% yes. November sinking fund, 42.2% yes. And then in May, 49.4% yes. And so those are the results that the board will take in consideration this evening during the discussion as we look to move forward. next handout that we have is basically a timeline. And that answers the core question that many of you probably have asked or should be asking or what have you, and that is, why are we here this evening? Because the election was only not even a week ago, and we're here this evening already. The reason we're here this evening, my job as superintendent, I feel, one of my main jobs is to make sure the board has presented the options, as many options as possible, whether it be curriculum, personnel, facilities, and technology. My job is to make sure the board has data and options. And so we're here right away this evening. I think it turned into a little bit more than I thought it would, which is fine. Again, it's good to see everyone here this evening. But my objective with the board is for the board to understand that if we did want to go, and that's it, and that's the discussion you'll get to see this evening, which I think is healthy for the community to see, and that is the discussion, do we go for the sinking fund right away? The reason we're here this evening is number 2 there, that deadline. If I would have waited till the regular board meeting, I would have limited the board's options of moving forward. And so that is why we're here this evening. Do I have a recommendation? Certainly I do. And we'll go into that, we'll go to FAQ. And I'm not going to go over all this again with the project and Crystal to hand out with our current project that we have, our current proposal. Do I believe in our proposal? I really do. And I've kept it simple in all my messages. I believe in a simple message, and it's simply this. Okay. Do I believe in the proposal that we've had since last year? Really, it's about a year and a half we're going on when we started this technology and facility plan. I do believe in it wholeheartedly. It's very fundamental and conservative. It's roofs, heating, cooling, security, and technology, updated technology. I believe wholeheartedly in that. Do I believe in the amount? Yes, I do. And I'll stand in front of the most conservative group there is, and I believe in the amount, not based on my opinion, but based on data. And the handout that Crystal's passing out has that on there, and it's simply this. Even if this would have passed, it only puts us in the middle of what in the county average of what schools ask for these type of things, namely technology and facilities. And so it's fundamental and conservative what we're asking, and it's the amount we're asking is conservative as well. And that was by design. And a lot of that was my leadership by design. I'm conservative with my leadership. And so, of course I have an opinion, and I'm not shy about that. And my opinion would be that we need to proceed with our plan. Do we need to communicate better? Of course. Do we need to maybe work harder? Not maybe. Do we need to work harder in our communication of our plan? Yes, we do. Could we have done more? Well, and again, this is my opinion, 30 votes more. At least we could have put that much more effort. And so that is my opinion, and this is our proposal. And hopefully we'll be able to answer questions this evening. This handout will just be for the Board of Education, just because we haven't updated it yet. When we were working with our school attorney again, I'm not moving ahead of the board or community, but again, the option, if we were to go right away in August, we worked with our attorney on the language that the board would have to approve this evening. When doing so, we found out that you can only go to the voters no more than 2 times each calendar year. I said that correctly, I believe. Yeah, 2 times each calendar year. We found that out. And so we have another issue that came into play here. In the handout I'm passing out to the Board of Education, we will update this, is regarding a non-homestead vote. We have a non-homestead vote that is up again. And the non-homestead is the 18 mills on businesses and second properties and so on. The state of Michigan counts on you receiving this money. When they calculate your per pupil student aid, roughly $7,500 right now per student, they count on you getting a portion of that from your community, and that is the 18 mil tax. People know it as a renewal. I don't believe it's ever gone down here, has it, or am I speaking out of turn? Okay. It has not gone down here. I'm grinning, I have that grin, and it's not really a ha-ha grin as much as I'm grinning because it makes this a little complex now. Because if we can only go to our voters 2 times, and we have this non-homestead that has to be approved before next year, we have to calculate when are we going to the voters with the non-homestead vote, and now we have the sinking fund. And so the discussion that the Board of Education will have this evening, I'm not jumping ahead, I mean, it's just, let's get to the point of the core of the discussion, amongst other things that come up, is do we go for the sinking fund? Maybe not even a sinking fund, but for discussion here, let's assume sinking fund. Do we go for that and the non-homestead in August? Because again, we've already had a vote in May. August would be 2. We can't go in November then. We would have to wait till next May. Or do we go for both those items in November? And so that makes it a little more tricky. So the handout that I am passing out to you is basically the handout that we used last year. And I believe most people in the audience, most people in the audience knows that I will, probably why a lot of you don't read my updates, because I know I'm redundant. And so you'll hear about that so much, well, I guess as long as I'm here, you would hear about that so much, that will be over communicated to you what the board's seen. But the handout has not been updated yet. So with that said, Andy, we can open up for questions now, and I can stay over here, or however we want to do this. If there's general questions, like Andy said, actually I'll sit down because people will come to the podium. We'll do the best we can to answer questions. We have our Director of Facilities and Technology somewhere back there that will hopefully be able to answer the best that we can to our ability about the projects. If there's some questions that come up we're not able to answer, what we'll do is we'll put that on the community updates, or Crystal will take notes, and I'll get that right out on those weekly updates that I know everyone in here reads and look forward to. So, but we'll get the answer to you right away. So,
not to put Evan on the spot or anything, but perhaps having Evan give a brief synopsis of the project situations would maybe save somebody that has a question and they'll already have their answer. They won't have.
Why don't you come up here?
They won't have to bother if they want to.
Right now with the sinking fund, the projects that are being focused on are the technology replacement, heating, cooling, and roofing, because those are our primary goals of the first 3 years. Anything after that is really up to a committee, whatever the district puts together, and then we would run whatever projects we did. Back during when we were looking at a bond, we had gone and looked at all the different areas in the district that needed work done. And we came up with $25 million worth of needs. We then scaled that down to fit into a proposed sinking fund bond proposal. And then we further had kind of tuned that down to fit into the sinking fund. So the projects have kind of changed a little bit. Most of them are based on need, but again, with the sinking fund, it's going to be based upon whatever the committee decides. So if they want a playground one year, we'll build a playground. If we need some parking lot built, we'll do that. The first 3 years of the sinking fund would be primarily focused with our technology replacement, heating and cooling upgrades replacement, and the roofs. So, any questions about any of it? Because it's really the 3 projects that we most concerned with. Yep.
To clarify, so from the roof perspective and the leaking, what have we done tactically along the way, or what could be done tactically? There's been a lot of good discussion over the week about, well, hey, let's get up there and slap some tar around, or try and do different things, right? But
We have roofers, and we have 2 companies that primarily take care of our roofs, Royal Roofing and Lutz. Some of the roof is still under warranty, is going to be warranted until 2020. As of 2020, all of our roofs will be out of warranty. So between those 2 companies, because one company holds the warranty, so obviously we use them on those sections of the roof. And then between Lutz and Royal, we use them on the remaining sections of the roof to fix any leaks that we have. Again, they are all flat roofs. This is Michigan. I don't know anybody who has flat roofs around here, but they leak. It doesn't really matter how old, how new they are. They all leak just based on our weather. So it's something that Royal is in and Lutz is in constantly. They were in today actually over at Algonac several areas. So it's kind of, and part of our warranty is every year we have to go through and do some maintenance work on the roof to keep us under warranty for those sections. So it's yearly, we're always doing things like that.
And then come 2020, there's a,
Come 2020, we're out of warranty, so any sections where we do have a leak, now we're paying for those. Anything that's warranted right now, obviously, we're not responsible for repairing those. The only thing we have to do is our yearly maintenance.
So, is the plan to redo the whole roof? Or
The
just the
plan
section?
that we were originally looking at was to replace all the roofs.
The whole-
Again, that came from guidance from the superintendent who told me basically I want a roof that's got a 20-year guarantee on it. And to go that far out, it's hard to find somebody that's going to come in and warranty your current roof for another 20 years without doing substantial work. So at that point, we looked at, our pricing is built around replacement,
Okay.
not repair.
And if I'm not mistaken, when we ran the 2007 bond issue, the extensive roof activities that happened were to bring all of the roofs into either maintain or get them to better warranties, and that was back in 2007, 2008.
Right.
And so 2020, that's the reasonable period of time that the warranties were expected to last.
Yeah, from
Correct.
talking with the different architects and engineers, you can get your roof warranty for 10, 15, really whatever you want. It just comes down to how much money you want to spend on the roof. Again, they're flat roofs, they're going to leak. It's trying to get those costs built in for repairing these roofs. And so back, and it seems like just yesterday, it was 2008. It's hard to believe that this much time is already gone by, and we're here again talking about doing all the work on the buildings. But as a matter of fact, a lot of years have actually gone by.
Question on technology. You mentioned just the first 3 years. What happens in years 4 through 10?
Well, the first 3
Technology.
years was to get those 3 main projects done. Because bidding on roofs and heating and cooling, that could be a 6-month to a 1-year process of going through all the architectural details, actually bidding out the projects, and then getting the work complete. The very first year after receiving the sinking fund, we would have replaced all technology. And then in another 5 years, we would have replaced teacher desktops and those type of things that have a lifespan of that 5 to 6 years. Technology, things that age a little bit differently. Your classroom computers are usually obsolete in about 5 to 6 years. Our servers, we can typically run 10. Network equipment's about 10. So it's not like in year 5, 6, we'd be replacing everything. It'd be a smaller refresh of the teaching workstation.
And so what is the current state of lifespan for servers and network material, network pieces of it? Where are those are?
Our servers are end of life, which means if something goes wrong, if we do support from Dell on them. Karen and I are really good at keeping stuff running for a long period of time, so that's why I feel that we could push our server lifespan, which is typically in the industry about 7 years. We could probably push it up a little more. Desktops in the industry, it's usually about 3 to 4. We typically run about 5 to 6, and we're currently at 6 to 8. So it's not like we're looking to keep cutting edge all the time. We realize with school finances, we can't do what industry we're doing. We also don't want to fall too far out of pace.
And then the network piece, the networking pieces of it?
Network equipment is typically a 10-year project, which is what the sinking fund was at 10 years. So you would have that in, you would then replace it at 5, and in 10 years, you'd be looking again to see what you were going to do. Yes.
Back to the roof issue, you talk about replacing the roof, you also say that flat roofs leak all the time. So, and you talk about architecture, so are we looking to change our roof design from flat roof?
Well, I think that really, so any project of that size, we have to bid out. And with the cost of that work project, we have to bring in a construction manager and an architect at that point in time. They would go through, as they did when we were going to the bond, and try and provide us what they believe is the best solution at that point in time. In fact, when we went to the bond, it was a replacement of a roof, and they had kind of spec'd out a Duralast roof. Now, obviously, there's all different types of roofs, and that's why doing the bidding process allows all the other vendors, we go through the same type of thing with our computers. While we're at Dell shop, we bid out and let HP and everybody else come in. The same thing would happen with roofs. So a built-up roof manufacturer could come in, or installer could come in and bid on that. And it's really at the end of the day, after all those bids are received, for the district to go and do cost analysis, longevity analysis, and see which of the ones that are presented to us would be the best fits.
Okay, so that hasn't been like decided yet.
No.
Okay.
And with all these projects, even heating and cooling, because of the size of these projects and the dollar amounts we're talking about, we always have to bring in construction managers and architects. It's their job to tell us what they think is the best fit, and then make sure that they're accurate. We go through the bidding process and allow different people to bid on all of it. Yes, sir.
You see that roofs are, or portions of the roof are covered until 2020.
Yep.
Under warranty. Now, what does that warranty actually cover? Does it cover just the leak in the roof, or does it cause damage that's caused by leaks?
It does not cover damage caused by leaks. Basically, if there's a leak, they come out and fix the leak. Anything that the leak did is not covered under that. That would be up to our building insurance and things like that. You know, it's usually a ceiling tile, maybe a light fixture, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking in here, I see 8 or 9 leaks themselves. So I was just curious, you know, what if they covered any of that at all?
No, it's just their workmanship and fixing the leak itself. So like we have a seam that's split over Algonac. It may have damaged 5 or 6 ceiling tiles. We're responsible for the ceiling tiles. They're responsible for fixing that split. And things bigger, like we had the tree fall at Algonac a couple years ago. You know, obviously they're not
That just got
responsible.
that way.
Oh, yes, sir.
When we see the roofs, go back to the roofs. Do you know what kind of roof system they use? Were they Duralast, Tremco? Who was the manufacturer?
What's currently on the roof?
The ones that are in question, yes.
It's kind of a patchwork of roof systems. When we built the new gym, that system back there is a membrane system. We have built-up systems on this same building, so it's kind of, and these buildings were all added on to in different years, so they didn't replace entire roof sections. They just, as they built, they butted them together. Typically, that's where you get your leaks, where all these different roof
So,
systems.
because I heard you mention 2020 was when the warranties run out.
Yes.
Typically, these roof manufacturers provide a 20-year warranty. The roofing installer provides a 5-year workmanship warranty. It's my understanding these roofs, whatever the ones that are in question now, were done in 2008 or 9. So that's like within a 12-year span. How come it's such a high? It doesn't seem to fall in line with what is typically.
Well, again, because we have different roof sections of different ages. Some of it is covered under warranty, some of it isn't, because it is older than that.
Okay.
You know, so that's why when the architect was looking at a solution, we were looking at doing an entire replacement rather than trying to go back through and just hit the older sections and leaving the newer sections alone.
Okay, now this is part of the information that wasn't put out there, like you're explaining right now. You know, you see that you show a couple pictures, like I saw over here in the hallway right now, that they got some of those ceiling tile out. It looks bad in the pictures, but looking at it, there's not a whole lot of rust on that steel over there. And it doesn't seem to look like it leaked a lot when we just had those big storms.
Well, we typically, so as soon as we get a roof leak, we try to get on it, so you're not going to get a lot of rust, so it's not getting to the structure itself. It's not like they're prolonged leaks and they sit there for years where they would rust our structure at that point in time. We try to get on it. Like I said, we had roof manufacturers out this week, obviously after the 4 inches of rain we got last week. So it's a constant battle to keep up with them, so that we don't do further damage on our structures. If we let a leak go for a long period of time, then we start having rust and those type of things. When it's just leaking through a rubber membrane or a built-up roof, you're not going to see that type of damage in the building. Mostly you're going to see is wet ceiling tiles.
Right.
You might get water in our light fixtures that we then have to replace. So because we try and stay up on it, we don't see extensive damage to our structure.
And I think another thing you said, and I know what you're saying over here, but a lot of people in the audience maybe don't understand, even though they call it a flat roof, there is pitch on their roof, because when they lay the insulation in there, they put that tempered insulation. There is some pitch. And you got this one picture of Algonquin with the ponding on the roof, and my guess is, looking at this, that it's one of the valleys created by the actual roof system itself. That possibly one of the scuppers are plugged or something?
Could be. I'm not a roof guy, and I don't pretend to know everything that goes on the top roof, on a flat roof. I do know that there are drains on the roof. And again, sometimes these are yearly battles. We have to go up there in the fall and get the leaks out of there, or not the leaks, but the leaves out of there.
Right.
Different, cottonwood, it clogs up all of our drains and things like. And sometimes we get ice dams that build up on our drains, which then cause backups. It all depends on the time of year. But the maintenance department does a really good job of getting up there and trying to keep on top of all those, be a little retro passionate to make sure we don't get too much.
One more quick
Yes, sir.
question. normal guy out of the community over here. How can I come and take a look at some of these things that are in question, that get access to maybe the contract documents from the 2007 bond issue to see some of those warranties? Not just talk about the roof, but like the HVAC system that I heard about, that this heat pump
Right.
or whatever, it's not functioning properly, which I don't understand how that happened, but I'd like to see myself, I'm in the industry myself,
Okay.
construction industry.
I believe all the bid documents are available in the central office.
You
Who do I get in contact?
Just call my
with to
office
get-
and we'll set an appointment and we'll.
To your office, Mr. Superintendent?
Yes.
Because I did try Friday and today to try to get through, and also I keep getting,
I didn't
which
get
I'm old school, with all those push 5 for this and 6 for that, and I get frustrated.
Here's my cell phone number, you have a pen?
No, I don't, but I'll get it from you.
Right.
All right, thank you.
If we could stop for just a minute, we've had, what, 3 different people ask questions. I'd like you to please identify yourself, so Crystal, we keep the list of who we have. So,
Tina Kemp, K-E-M-C.
Yeah, this gentleman right here.
John Bukowski. Good luck spelling my last name.
Common spelling.
and,
Dan Tollis, Tollis.
okay, and because Evan's doing such a great job of answering questions, we're going to continue to do it this way. But before you ask your question, please identify yourself so Crystal can keep track for us, and appreciate your help with that. Anyone else?
George Hardiger. That was a question of mine, because he mentioned about it, and I used to do hot roof tires quite a few years ago.
Okay.
Is there adequate enough, is there a plenty enough drain system up there? Are we lacking more, that we need more drainage up there?
I couldn't answer that question.
I mean, this is what we-
Architect, engineer.
Okay, when you have these guys come in, you know, that's the whole thing, because the guy I work for, he would warranty his roofs for 25 to 30 years. He stood behind his roofs. He did these in Michigan. I was working for him down in Ferndale.
I believe the warranty, like, there again, is a part of the bid process, because I'm sure he warranties them that long, but he probably also ups his price a little bit to cover them that long. And, you know, we can't speak for previous administration, but a lot of times it comes down to the dollar of how much you want to spend on it. Because obviously, if I warranty a roof for 10 years, my price is more likely going to be different than if I want to warranty for 20 years. But as far as the drainage on the roof, that would be a question that we could ask of an architect and engineer when we get to that phase.
Well, that's what I mean, because you're gonna have them come on in and everything else, and,
Yep.
hey, look it, we've got a problem, it's been recurring occasionally here and there. Do you think we need more drains? And let them take, if it comes down to it, it comes in the bid, to put new drains in, then they should do that. The roofs will last longer.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
And the thing is like the pictures that I see in there, it looks like it's just tar roofs. Is that gravel roofs up there or no?
Again, it's kind of a patchwork of roof systems up there. The main sections of this building are a built-up tar roof, but the back sections are a membrane roof.
Yeah, because what I used to do the gravel roofs, and they last longer.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I can tell you.
Yep, as long as you got the adequate enough drain and everything else, and people don't realize, all it takes is for that stone to get hot and it evaporates any water and everything else, and chances are they don't leak just as bad as what the membranes do.
Yeah, but we can find out about the drainage side. Thank you. Anybody else?
Thanks, Evan.
If you have any more questions, I'll hang around.
So is there anybody here that has anything they'd like to stand up and say about what we're talking about? Technology and facility planning. Okay. Because there's no requests. No.
One more piece of information. Yeah, right. True Law Firm, who guides us through election processes, whether it be for a millage or the non-homestead, has an opinion regarding our situation. This is from today, that's why you didn't have it. Like I said, we found this out today. We were pretty fortunate how we stumbled upon it. regarding only being able to have 2 elections in 1 year, because we were looking at this, possibly moving forward with a August 8th sinking fund election. So I'll let you read that. And discuss it.
So I have a question is if it's our, if we want to do it in August, we have until May 16th we have to have a resolution and have it in by May 16th.
For both.
For both,
If
right,
we
to-
were-
well, to call an election to put these issues on. If we want to do it in November, we don't have to have the resolution and stuff to the county clerk until
I don't even have that date. We can
June,
find it out.
July, or
Yeah.
August-ish or something of that nature. So that would be nothing that the board would act on tonight. That would be, okay. So based on the consensus of the board and the collective decision on when this election should be, it will determine whether we want to adopt a resolution. Everybody with me?
Question on the 18 mills. All we hear is 18 mills. What's the total dollar amount of that, and how is that laid in against our budget?
As indicated on your handout there, it's the back page. And again, this is last 2014. This will be updated, like I said, I'll come get that up. For our budget, it would be roughly, not roughly, this year it's $3,765,438. So, out of the total budget for the school district, which is roughly $16-17 million, percentage-wise, it's a pretty good chunk of change. We have a lot of second homes in our community. And so it's an amount of money as important as the sinking fund, or the sinking fund is to us. This is even, in my opinion, more important because this would be the general fund. And obviously, we know what, or many know, but the Board of Education certainly knows what we've gone through with our general fund as we turn the corner and go into positive spending. Obviously, a $3.7 million hit would be devastating budget. So, but it's $3.7 million.
So what is your recommendation, Patricia?
My recommendation, and a lot of this is personality, and no doubt a school district will take on somewhat the personality of the leader, the superintendent. Considering true law, some key points in the recommendation from our law firm is you have to consider that in an August election, people may be, a lot of our parents and supporters of the community may be on vacation still. That's a consideration. But my recommendation is stated, and a lot of it is, to the point, deals with personality types. I feel when you look at our trend, from going from 42% in November to darn near basically 50%, I would recommend moving forward in August. But I certainly take heed to what our attorney's saying. That's what they're there for, to advise us. But I would recommend going forward. I think.
I'm just nervous running both of them at the same time. I'm nervous for them both to get, what do we do if we
have
have?
to, whether we do it in August or November.
Well,
Well, you
I'm
don't, you
not-
wouldn't have
wait
it.
on the sinking fund.
That is correct. Right, for this year. The sinking fund, you could wait till next year, or even with the non-homestead, you could wait till May.
But then it says you won't get the taxes in the summer.
Correct.
Yeah.
It says if you wait until the May.
You don't,
The district
you-
waits until May and question is voted down, then you won't have, that's what makes me nervous. because we don't have that
Right,
extra time to go.
that's why
for
when
it.
asked my recommendation, I mean, as high as I can highly recommend on the non-homestead that you
Well, we have to
go.
do that for sure.
Yes,
But I just mean running the two of them at the same time makes me nervous.
so you're right, it could wait till next year. That is correct, that is
No, I
correct.
would get run the
That's
non-homestead.
correct.
But the other thing I didn't know, because obviously you wouldn't be able to get to me tonight, I was just wondering the non-homestead from the 2014, like how many yeses, how many nos?
We'll find that out, we'll get it out to you.
I mean, I know it was pretty significant, but I just
You remember
want to
that?
know what the trend was then.
I just know that.
The non-homesteads usually get voted yes because
I'm just
most of the
afraid,
time it doesn't affect the residents.
I'm just afraid with two on the ballot and people just say no, no,
Because
no, no.
It's basically vacation homes, apartment
I
buildings.
know what it is. I
So it's
just-
not,
For
yes,
those,
they might not know.
For those not familiar with what the 18 mil non-homestead conversation is about here, school districts are required to run an 18 mil non-homestead tax in order to receive all of their foundation grant money. Algonac Schools' current foundation grant is around $7,500 per student. The 18 mil non-homestead brings at $3.7 million as part of that foundation grant. So if a school district were to choose not to pass the 18 mil non-homestead, that 3.7 million would be subtracted from the amount by per student amount.
What I'll do
So-
is Karen's going to get you, because that will thoroughly explain, but just please pardon that, it's from 2014, that's why I didn't make copies, but it just very thoroughly will explain the concept to you. It's a question Q&A that we had from the 2014, so Karen will get that. Go ahead, but we'll get you this, so you don't have to worry about writing this down.
But the 18 mil non-homestead is an 18 mil property tax assessment that is placed upon second homes, vacant land, businesses, and things of that nature, not your homes. That's why it's called not homestead. If you are a homeowner and you have a house, it is not levied on your house. If you have your house and you have a cottage, it is on Harson's Island, your cottage would be levied the 18 mil. So that is how it works, that is what it's levied on, and the state pretty much required you to have to pass it. So, and as was mentioned, I think Ray said, when every time that the 18 mil non-homestead has appeared on the ballot in Algonac since this whole thing started, which was some of the fallout from the passage of Proposal A in 1994. It has passed like 70–80% every single time. People don't turn it down. The district has done over the years, I think, a good job of educating people what it is and what it's for and why the district needs to have it. So, and it's, like I said, something the state pretty much requires you to do or you get penalized.
And it's a renewal, so it wouldn't change for those people that have the second homes, the businesses, it would just stay the same as what you're doing.
And the district has typically run the 18 mil non-homestead renewal before the current 18 mil non-homestead expires. So nobody sees a change. They've been doing it all the way along. It just continues.
How often does it come up for renewal?
You can run it for a period of up to 10 years, and that amount was increased a few years back. Before that, it was 5 years. The problem was, a lot of districts, including Algonac, we were running it every 2 years. And the reason was the Headley rollback. There's things where, so in year one, you get 18 mils, and in year two, you get 17 point something, and in year three, you get, and it continues to go down the longer you have it. Recently, the law changed, and you can run them instead of for only 5 years, you can now run them for 10 years, and that decreasing amount over the period of time no longer happens.
Okay, it passed 4/29 to 93.
In 2014.
Yep.
Where? Everywhere?
A new 2-year renewal of an 18 mil non-homestead assessment passed overwhelmingly
229 to 92.
If it was a big election, I don't think that can be the right number. That was the governance.
Ray, I've got 898 to 394.
So that's twice as much, so, and it has, I can tell you, without knowing the exact numbers, it passes like that every time.
It's significant.
It is significant, yes. So I have seen videos on social media, I've seen comments on social media, I've received telephone calls, emails, and texts saying, can I write a check for the amount of taxes that I would have owed because this failed? I have received the same type of communications from people, and other board members have as well, saying, can we put together groups of people to raise funds to donate to the district to pay to run an election? Not a yes campaign, not a no campaign, but to fund the running of an election. The answer is yes, people could do such things, but the positive outpouring after the fact, unfortunately, speaks volumes, I think, so.
Well, I'm very much in favor, 200% for the sinking fund. My problem is running it in August. I would rather wait till next year, May, for the sinking fund. Possibly November if we had to, but I would prefer to wait till next year for the sinking fund.
November and May, we have, not a whole lot of people are gone because kids are still in school. November, a lot of the sunbirds haven't left for warmer destinations yet. Some have, some haven't.
So I've got a question to challenge us with. If we look at the, so I don't understand, John, the percentages have picked up, right? But our population voting is a lot lower. We still have a really divided community on the whole topic, right? And arguably, my own reflection is we got to come at this differently, or more, drawing upon the community, or a larger campaign, or something to try and get the message out for of what we're doing and what we're doing to manage the budget and turn the tide and get everything in the right. I believe there's a good story there. And a lot of the people who aren't in support of it are not in support for many different reasons, but we have to turn that tide a bit more. So what would we do different this next time around, and then how long do we need for that? And then maybe that's where we put an election. If we only need 4 or 5 months, it would be later this year. If we need longer, then it's next year, and we give safety around making sure non-homestead gets through. That's kind of how I see it.
Well, I was speaking with Chuck this morning, and we were talking about when we ran the 2007 bond issue, that, Chuck was the treasurer of it, and there were quad chairs of a group. There was an IRA person, and an Algonac person, and a Clay Mainland person, and a Clay Island person that chaired their particular area to mobilize volunteers and groups of people and do educating and campaigning and what have you to make something like that happen. They targeted absentee voters, and they had large teams of people doing lots of work, which wasn't really the case.
We have like 80 or 90 at our organization meetings, and it was very intense, and it was a different time. It wasn't as tough as it is now in the past. But, I think on balance, it's on us to get this organized. And I know a lot of people put a lot of effort into it, but we need a lot more people to put a lot more effort into it. So we get this thing passed. We've got to get the message out, and we've got to get closure on it.
How much time shall we take?
Well, it's getting it done, I mean,
Because I was on board with meetings. The problem that we found was probably different than you guys have. Is people don't have phones anymore. So to get phone numbers, to get cold calls, to call people is super difficult. I sat for 3 hours one night and I didn't even get through the A list to find phone numbers for people. That's the hard part nowadays. Everyone has cell phones, no one has a home phone. So I guess it would have to be like a door-to-door thing where,
if that's what it takes.
yeah, the door-to-door thing where if you're going by weather, November, because you talk, summer would be better, but I don't. Well, we can't do both this year.
No, we
Or we can do both. I mean, we can't have May or August.
You can only do one more.
You've had one election, that was last week, you can have one more this calendar year. That is correct.
Correct.
Sir, can you identify yourself and?
Me?
Yeah, come on over.
I knew somebody was behind me. Colleen Devlin. I have a suggestion. I know you don't take suggestions very well, your group, but I have one, and you might want to listen. You might want to wait till after you get a new superintendent, because a lot of these problems happened about the selling of the schools, the non-selling of the schools, the giving away. People were angry. You don't think those people down in Ira, you think they might have voted yes had you not given their school away? They might have. They're not happy. And I know a lot of people that were teachers here that voted no because of that reason. So if I were you, I would wait till we got a new superintendent and see if we can even things out a little bit, take it down a few notches. That's my opinion, and I know you won't listen because you never do, but you really should listen, because there are a lot of people. You only are listening to the people that, oh, Dr. Stricker, we love you. Well, there's a lot of people that don't, and that's the reason they voted no. Not because of that money, it's because of the selling of the schools, and you, and some of the things you've said, and other people have said. And believe me, people are watching. They're not home. When you guys are out talking in bars and all that, they're listening and they're watching what you're saying, and they're not happy about that. Somebody heard a couple times you guys said terrible things about Algonac people. They're listening. So those were the no's. And maybe once you get a new superintendent in, we might be able to figure this thing out. That's my suggestion.
Is there a way to find out if the parents of our students are registered voters? It's just a question, I just wonder, are they voters? And just maybe did not go to the polling place to vote?
We can get into this, obviously, we can't find out how they voted.
Oh, right. Whether they voted yes or no. Obviously, they didn't come out.
48% of our parents are registered.
I had one come to me and tell me that she was not registered, never thought she would vote in an election because it just didn't matter. But today I saw her and she said, I registered to vote today.
Another parent suggested we do a registration drive as well.
That's what I'm
Good
thinking.
idea.
If we did, that
Good
might
idea.
be something making we were, they're coming to school for, what is it, open house or whatever, where there was a way that we could happen to just get some,
And to Phil's point, the discussion is how much time,
that would
what will
be
take, how much time you need to, if you're going to do.
weeks, for example. We're all just
Certainly, we have the data on the parents in the school district to be able to contact them. I mean, that's something we have to research. It's there. But it's sad if we only have 48%. This is sad in our community.
Anybody else wanted to comment or whatever? Oh, yeah, come on over. You know you want to.
You're a theater person.
Christy Bowden. I just, at my parent perspective, I know a lot of people in the community and I've worked with a lot of different people, and just my opinion and from what I've heard from other people, obviously it's something that's going to happen again, just a matter of figuring out when. I agree that August may not be the best time because people are on vacation and not around. And another factor is school is not in session, so you're not having that access to send out information and reminders, and people aren't as actively involved in the school and what's going on with the school in August. So I think November might be a better time, just because instead of waiting, my fear would wait until next spring. There's a lot of momentum right now. There's a lot of people that are really upset and frustrated and concerned about it not passing for our kids who are in the district and the teachers that are here. Regardless of everybody that's sitting up there, it's the teachers and the kids that are most important. I think there's a lot of momentum and a lot of people that are ready to jump on board and help to pass this and help to clarify some of the misinformation that's out there. And I think if we wait till next spring, my concern is we just need to see a little bit of that fire that comes.
Going with what she said, I know in August, tackle starts, and they will be practicing out here, so there will be a ton of parents that night coming through. But then you get November, and the football team is still hot, and it's season that keep the drive going.
My name is Jim Newman, resident here. I live on Harson's Island. Some of you have seen a video I put out because I'm really passionate about this. And for a lot of reasons. Number one is I grew up in a really good school system. It wasn't the public school system, it was a parochial school system. But the thing that made it great was the parents that cared and really stood behind everything that was going on in that school. And it wasn't about the board and the superintendent, it was always about the kids. Mistakes happen. And in my life, when there's a mistake that happens, I don't go through life looking back at that mistake or that failure. I go looking forward to the future. Because if I keep focusing on what happened in the past, I'm never going to get to the next step. And there are some people that are upset. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But if that was the reason for voting no, I think it's time to rethink that no vote. And here's why. We have children in a community that we need to take care of. The things that make a community strong, number one thing, schools. Number two, availability to healthcare services, right? Number three are other services, your police, your fire department, your snow removal. Those things are really important, but number one is always education. If you have good schools, your community is going to be strong. Now, we've got a lot of people in here that voted yes. And there's some people in here that voted no. You can't alienate people that voted no. It's their democratic right to vote no, okay? It's their right to be angry, it's their right to be upset, and you can't call them haters and get online and start poking fingers in people's faces. That's just wrong. It's just wrong. I had it happen to a very good friend of mine. He voted no. It's his right to vote no. And he said, you know what? If things were different, I probably would have voted yes. I said, well, they're not different. They're not different. They're not different today. Are they going to be different in the future? Gosh, you hope so. You really hope so. But right now, we've got to do right by our kids and continue to vote yes. And here's something, it's not even about, some of us are going to give money because there's a lot of other school programs that need support and they need funding and they need us to be behind them. There's kids that go to school hungry. and they get fed here at the school. Then on the weekends, they're hungry at home. You know, there's programs out there that we need to support. We need to continue to support that. But here's my point. Right now, there's a lot of people in this room, a lot of passionate people, including myself. My hero, Jesus Christ, had 12 people, and he changed the entire world. We got a room full of people here right now. We can change it. Let's do it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm George Harker, and the thing is the reason why I got voted down is trust in the local. People can't trust the school board and the superintendent right now. We got to, as a community, we have to work together. Okay, you want this thing to pass, you got to turn around and take, it starts off with no name calling, that's everybody, both sides of the party. I see it on Facebook all the time, it's ridiculous. Just because you don't like that person, too bad. When you're done here with meetings, it's been heard, I was there a couple times, I'm not mentioning names, but there's other members, people that were there out of our community that live in Iowa Township, that were shooting pool, and there was also Algonac supervisor, from the board, on Algonac, who shoots out for the Wynot team. He was disarrayed, he couldn't believe what was happening. This stuff's got to stop. Start building the trust with the people, is what you got to do. If you want anything to pass, you have to turn around and talk to the people. Be open. When somebody asks you, how come the school's got a sold sheet, answer the question. A lot of times people don't understand what is going on. They're not getting answers. Or they're asking questions and all of a sudden, oh, that guy was just an idiot because he didn't know what he was talking about. Explain it to him. That's why he needs to know. Now he doesn't understand it, and you might have to explain it to him 3 or 4 times before he comprehends. That's the way it comes down to it, you know? We're all together. I mean, I'm trying to put a group together to try to get money to take and fix stuff. I already got a group of guys right now. If we give them the money for the materials, they'll come in and shingle the concession stand because they're the concession stand's leaking. All we got to do is get the materials, free labor, guys sitting will haul it away, and everything else. You know, and I got guys wanting to jump on it right now. The only thing is, I have to ask your permission if we can do that. If we can get the materials and everything else, can we fix the roof on the concession stand? Get something to you. Okay, because I'm trying to get a group together and everything else. You know, maybe other Jim can come over and watch one of my group is doing that. The more input to take, build the community better, is you have to get a group of people and it has to start off racing with the community, and it's up to the school board and superintendents to get the trust of the people again. You know, because the thing is like I'm looking at it, is anybody who donates any money to me is not going to be turned over to you guys. We're going to take and put it into projects, you know, and it's going to be done that way. So if it comes down to we buy the materials, we fix it. But the roof and the flat roofs and everything else, a lot of people don't have the experience, and it's too big of a job just for a couple guys that do have experience, so you actually have to hire, you know, a firm to come in and do it. Geothermal, it's the same thing. You know, there's, you know, plenty of reasons not to turn around taking. Make sure that, you know, are these guys want to do it again, or just put it out there and see if we get more bids and see if we get a better deal, everything else. Sometimes it might even help, you know. Another thing is too, is if you're ever looking for government grants, there's certain government grants that are out there that allow the schools to take and repair some things, especially when it comes on computers or else, that you don't have to pay them back. Something to look into. You know, the thing is, I'm asking everybody again, stop the name calling. If you don't like that person, don't say nothing at all. You know, just being honest. But you have a good one.
There is information available. There's a CD-ROM disc that has all of the documentation from start to finish about the sale of the building. In a nutshell, the Troon Law Firm was contacted by the district regarding the disposition of the buildings and what to do with them, and how to move through that whole process and do it, because there are things that the state of Michigan has laws about how you can and cannot dispose of excess property. So the Troon Law Firm guided the district step by step all the way through the process of putting the buildings out for bid, the purchase agreements, the whole 9 yards, all of it, from front to finish, all the way through. And our lawyers do not tell us how to do these things and tell us an incorrect way to do them. The Fairhaven building received 1 bid. The Algonac building received 0 bids. The buildings, under advice of legal counsel, and once again, were appraised. The bid for Fairhaven came in under the appraised value. There was 1 bid. Side note, empty school buildings in the state of Michigan, of which there are many. People quit having babies like they used to a while back, and schools aren't full anymore, and districts are finding themselves selling or otherwise repurposing school buildings, and they are having a very hard time doing that. There are places where school districts can't give buildings away. They have to pay the demolition cost to tear buildings down and then sell the vacant land. Algonac was fortunate, the Algonac Schools was fortunate that we were able to sell the buildings for what we could get for them and use that money to fund the remodeling costs for the various buildings and other projects to make the consolidation plan happen. The buyer of the Fairhaven building, when he purchased the Fairhaven building and heard there was no bid on the Algonac building, asked if he could make an offer. So he did, and it was less than what the appraised price was, but it was the only offer in town. So the district agreed, and we sold the building. So the Fairhaven building, I've heard the comments around, so then that guy turned around and sold that building he bought for $289,000 for $750,000. We want our money back. Well, I'm sorry folks, but it doesn't work that way. If I buy a car from Heidi and I turn around and I sell the car for 3 times to Heather for 3 times more than I bought it from, she sold me the car. It's my car. And I can sell that item to whoever. The district had no recourse on whether the gentleman made money on the building or not. It was not our building anymore. It was his building to do with what he wanted. So that argument is, while it sounds great, is not realistic and couldn't be pursued that way. There was also questions about, so the Algonac building, the guy only had to write a check for a couple $100,000 and he got away with murder. Well, that's not true either. The bid price was, the offer price was somewhere over $400,000. The tree limb from the world record black oak tree in the courtyard at the Algonac Elementary School that when it laying on site is almost 6 feet tall. When it fell on the building, it created some extensive damage the night before the purchase agreement was going to be signed. The buyer said he would still buy the building, which he didn't have to do. The insurance company said to the district, you got 2 choices. We will pay to fix the damage that is done to the building by the tree branch. And that was in the neighborhood of $350,000. Or we'll write you a check for a reduced amount. For some reason, I want to think it was somewhere around $260, but don't quote me. But it was somewhere, it was in that neighborhood. So the buyer said to us, well, I want to do renovations or whatever to that building anyway, so I would rather not have the insurance company build classrooms back where classrooms were when that's not what I want to use it for. So how about this? You take the reduced amount from the insurance company and I'll make up the difference so that you get your wholesale price. You get your the whole price that we agreed for me to buy it for you from. Everybody wins. The district gets their sale price. The buyer gets to do the renovations he wants on the building however he wants to. So the buyer did end up, by the time he ended up having to do the repairs or renovations he wants to do to the building, he's going to spend probably more. So that is the detail. The gentleman did not buy the downtown building for $200,000.
If you want a copy of the CD, just let me know. It's all the documents.
And every document, every piece of paper about all of it is on a CD that is definitely available. If you get a hold of Crystal, she'll definitely make sure you get one. And there's a hand going up in the back that has been for about 5 minutes now.
Michelle Nolan. Mr. Goulet, online, the statement that you posted, you mentioned on April the 19th that the administration, along with 2 Board of Education members, attended the meeting with the state. Who were those 2 Board of Education members?
That would have been Mr. Bussettel and Mrs. Stilton.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay, when we do what you said, and by your fantastic facilities manager over here brought me up to speed on some what happened on those buildings. But in most cases that I've ever seen, when they only get 1 bid or 0 bids, they put it out for bid again. They don't open the bids up, and then maybe go 30 days later, 60 days later, and rebid. Did you guys consider to do that? Did you do that, or?
We did not do that.
And how come?
We want to sell the buildings. We wanted, our goal was to sell the buildings.
Which I can appreciate that too. They're sitting over there, they cost a little bit of money sitting over there, but as an obligation to the taxpayers, the city board members here and everything, you should maybe try a little harder to try to get a little bit more money. Maybe some of these issues that came up on this bond issue could use some of that money, because to get 0 bids on a building, especially with the economy picking up, I find that kind of strange, you know, not to say anything was wrong, it just, maybe not enough effort was put in there to sell those buildings, from my point of view.
Right, which, good point. But back to my point earlier about the ability to dispose of surplus school buildings. That piece of property is one of the most valuable, probably one of the most valuable pieces of property in town.
Okay.
And somebody could have bought that property, helped bulldoze the building, or done whatever they wanted to do with it, and done great things with it.
And it's still
and nobody bid on it. Nobody's in the whole beginning of the thing. Nobody bid on that. That huge chunk of acreage in the middle of town. Nobody bid on it.
And
that was our point.
To me, if nobody bid on it, that piece of property, like you say, is so valuable. And I agree. I absolutely agree with what you just said.
Right.
If I was maybe in the position you're in or something over there, I would have turned around and said, listen, maybe we got to try a little different angle. We got to get some money, some good money for these buildings. And because the market's been coming up. Over here, I don't know if I heard it came down again this year a little bit, but
the market for school buildings, for excess school buildings, and you look anywhere in the state, this is not just an Algonac thing, okay? Please know, this is not just an Algonac thing. This is all over the place. And like I say, school districts have offered to sell school buildings to organizations or whatever for $1, and they don't want it. They have offered to sell buildings, and they sit empty. Like I said, there are school districts that have had to bulldoze buildings so that they can sell the vacant property. Yes.
Michelle Thompson, whatever happened with the old schools happened, but I want to know where we're going to go from here. I still have 4 kids in these schools. My youngest is in 4th grade. So since this got voted no, now where do we go from here? Are they still going to have no leaky roofs and no heat, no air? I want to know for next year what's the plan, I guess.
So your recommendation, our plan.
I think we need to pick up our discussion
where
we were, basically. Let's pick our discussion up of when the board thinks we need to go. I think Phil had an excellent point. It really was, as far as we need to start with, what do we think we need to do to gain the support to move forward with, whether it be something on the same amount, how much time do we need? However, of course, it's my job to have a plan of what we're going to do if something didn't pass. So there certainly is a plan with technology, with roofs, heating, cooling, and so on. If the board even said, we're not going for any sinking fund or any bond. So there is a plan for that. I'd be happy to meet with you to go over the details. But to pick the discussion back up, I agree.
So what do we think? November, August? So you're in November?
I'm in November for sure.
But you don't know whether both or not, right?
Right.
You're going to both, or you're going to see?
It's your choice.
That's what we're discussing. We're doing the when first. We're doing the when first. November, right? Sure. It could be.
I just hate to lose the support we have by delaying. That's where mine.
Show of hands.
That's what I would.
So here's a question for everyone as we're deliberating and trying to figure out where to do. We don't want to lose the momentum. We don't want to move too fast and not listen, and we want to all, get us in the right direction. I guess by show of hands, do the folks here in the community supporting us, on either side of the fence, do you believe we can gain the trust and change the outcome between now and November, I guess is my question, because we need you guys to help. As Chuck had said, it's a big group, it's a big effort to get the message out there and get us. So show of hands, is that doable by November? Move your hands. Thank you.
November.
November.
That's what I want to do, but I didn't know if I could legally ask.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks for helping, Brad.
That's the one thing I want to get out, okay? A lot of the people out in the communities don't know in the last 2 years, you have 4 brand new board members sitting here, okay? So it's not, so when I see the comments, I don't trust the board, I don't trust the board, I don't trust the board. You don't even know half the board. So, like I said the other guy last night, look, I'm here for 1,600 kids. I'm not here for administrators, teachers, parents, whoever. I'm here for the kids. That's the only reason I do this job. So before you categorize me as, oh, he's just a money waster and everything. People that know me know that's totally different. So just give us a chance, okay? I'm not going to say that I'm going to be perfect, and none of us are going to say we're perfect. But our heart's in the right place, and our minds are hopefully going in the right direction. Just give us a chance. Don't.
Can I make a quick suggestion? Between now and November, I think that this board should maybe have a get to know your board open house. Not a meeting, but an open house where you get up there and you share your passion and your ideas and what you've got in mind and what challenges you've been facing, and let these folks know, because a lot of them don't know you guys. I'm just getting to know some of you, and I'm really glad that I am, because the teachers that I know, I love them. My bus driver, she's the best in the world. I think this community is a community of rock star educators. And I think that once the community knows you better, we'll get through this. We'll get through this, and I think the numbers will be mind-boggling.
Colleen.
Parents, if you want people to vote yes, Colleen Devlin, go to those meetings. My friend and I sat at those meetings for not weeks, not months, years, all alone, watching them do whatever they were doing, and nobody was there. If you want me to vote yes for your children and things that are going on, go and act like you care what these people are doing, because they aren't, they're just people, they're humans. They're not doing everything the way you or someone else might think that. But if you're there, things happen better when people are there and watching and asking questions and people are telling you, then things will happen. But when I hear the parents, oh, they didn't want to vote again, our poor kids, where were you all those years when I sat there and watched all these people by myself with an old teacher? We didn't even have any kids in the school, and nobody was there. And then I'd go out and I'd see people going here and there doing things, but when it came to those meetings, no, they weren't there. And then they don't care. I got kicked out of a meeting once because people cared and came, and They didn't want us to see what they were doing, so they kicked us out. That's what you want. I don't care if they kick me out. I care that they worry about whether I'm there watching them. And that's what you need to do. So begging everybody to vote yes isn't going to work. That it didn't work now, it's not going to work again. You have to get involved with this board. Come in and watch what they're doing. Ask questions. Give your ideas. And maybe more people will want to do what they did. I felt like if you didn't fix that roof after you got all that insurance money and all the money you supposedly got for the schools, if you didn't fix that roof and water's pouring down on those kids' head, shame on you. Should have done that first. First thing, before you made your thing down here and all those other things, fix the roof so the kids have something so it isn't water isn't pouring on them. I know if my son would have been sitting there, that's the first thing I would have said. Why are you getting a new building down here when my son has water pouring on his head? Then I will listen to all the parents that are saying, oh my God, what are we going to do? Take care of business, priorities. If I own a house and my roof is broken and water's pouring in on my head and I go out and buy a new car or do anything with that money besides fix that roof, what are you going to think of me? I'm an idiot.
Save me a seat, I'll sit next to you next meeting.
You know what, sweetie? I don't even come anymore. I'm so tired of hearing the same junk over and over. But if all you people would start coming, yeah, I'll come again.
And ask questions.
And ask questions and demand answers. Don't just, oh, okay, you're the superintendent, so you're going to listen to everything I say. No, nobody's going to listen to everybody you say. And Dr. Stricker, I'm sorry what I said before. I'm not sorry, but you played me your first day here. You told me how you were going to change everything and everything was going to be so great, and all these people that were being mean and nasty, you were going to take care of it, and you didn't. I stood up and told everybody, this is our new superintendent. He's the greatest guy I've ever met, and da-da-da-da-da. And as we were going along, I was so embarrassed. That's one of the reasons I didn't want to come back. I was too embarrassed to come back. If you say something, stand by it. People that were in the bar told me they heard you laughing about us and joking about us like, ha, 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 ha. Yeah, no laughing. You go on and do your thing somewhere else. And hopefully you people will find a better one or another one or somebody that will get all these people together and vote the way they're supposed to vote. But yeah, you played me, and I don't like it when people play me, so I said what I said. But
Listen to bar gossip.
Okay. Over here.
My name's Miranda Molesky. I live in Clay Township on Audubon. I would like to say that I do actively participate in the community. I have 2 small children in the district at Algonac Elementary, and I think there is a lot of participation if you show up at events, drama, robotics, football, cheer, the youth programs we have. Little League has never had bigger numbers. But there is such an overpowered feeling of community here. I think we need to move forward, like the gentleman said from Harson's Island earlier, and focus on the positive, move forward, because it really is about our children sitting in the classrooms, looking at the needs of repairs to keep up with quality schools, looking at technology. We know our home computers cost a lot of money to replace. Imagine what it does for the high school and the both elementary schools. The state puts huge requirements on schools to keep up with the 21st century. Our testing now is all on computers. If we don't have computers working, our test scores will be lower because kids get booted off, they have to re-log on. I'm a teacher in another district. I choose to send my kids to their neighborhood school and get them on the bus because of this amazing community that we all live in. But if we don't support our schools and move forward, even if there were some harsh feelings in the past and we play this active role, we have to also look at this is our property values, this is our community, and we have to nourish it. We have to make these repairs. We have to buy the technology. We all admit that state does not give the proper funding to small schools. We know after Proposal A, the funding in 1994 is very miscued. We are losing pupils, but we also are in the corner of Algonac. Not many people are coming here for industry. But what we do have this huge sense of community that we could come together and support and make it great. But I think we do have to move forward, like you said. I think we have to focus on the positive. I'm at a lot of community events, and I do see a lot of board members. I ran into people in the grocery store just the other day. Very friendly. I do ask the tough questions. I know John Stricker's had many conversations with me. It's complicated, but I think we need to look at things in a positive manner to move forward, because it's our children that are going to give back to our community one day. And it's just, I think we've got to focus our energy in the right direction. I think that we have a lot of momentum of parents that maybe did not go out and vote, even community members. I think we need to ride on that and really rally things and get that openness with the board and just move forward in that direction. I think I would like to see the bond to go again. I think we need it. There is no way the state is going to just give us a bucket of money. It's a set fixed amount and it's not increasing. And it hasn't increased in 10 years. If anything, it's decreased. So we're trying to do more with the little bit of money that we have per pupil. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, in so much as there's consensus of the board to move the election to November, I don't think we need to decide, because there's now time to mull over our options between now and November, that we would visit the issue of which issue or how many issues to put on the ballot in November at our regular May meeting on the 22nd. So we'll have that on the agenda as an information item. We'll have time to mull it over and think about it. It's not a decision that needs to be made right now. The only decision we have to make right now is whether to, for this resolution for the election to be held in May. And as regards that, and being that there's consensus of the board to not have the election in May, August, replace all those Mays with August, I'm sorry. I'll make a motion that the board, I'll make a motion to amend the agenda to remove item 5A, a resolution for special election. Support. It's been moved and supported. And any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes. We'll not be considering that resolution. Anybody have anything else?
One question, if you can clarify anything for everyone, in regards to the interacting with board feedback, we have cards, right? When people come, so you fill out a card at the next meeting and submit it, right? And that's just to clarify for everyone how, if you'd like to talk when you meet in May.
It's a blue sheet of paper, and there's a stack of them by the coffee and the agenda. Melissa's holding them up now. The reason that people ask why we do that, and there is the school districts are required to keep accurate minutes of their meetings, and that includes who spoke to you at your public meeting, so that it can be looked back upon to see who was in attendance. Good idea. Chuck made a motion to adjourn. Phil seconded. And all those in favor? Aye.